Now, Anthony Joshua listed you as one of the six he wants to face before he retires one day. Reflecting back on everything that happened with Andy Ruiz filling in for you last minute, do you feel the outcome would have been the exact same had you still fought Joshua?
I would put Andy Joshua in a casket. I don't return. I put a hurt in him so bad I would never look in my direction ever again. So I had his number. And I know I didn't have his number. A lot of people didn't know that Andy Ruiz was actually coming out to help me for sparring. I was gonna have Andy Ruiz in my anything. And a lot of people says, why are you gonna have Andy Ruiz? He's short, he's chubby, different fighting style. I'm like, you gotta understand fighting, man. You know, once you're a fighter, you understand the art of it, and you know what's good. I've told guys, I'm short guys fight inside. He's a good inside fighter. Those combinations very well, fast hands. And I'd be the greatest outside fighter. But what I needed him for, I know he's great at. That's comfortable. I don't think Andy's gonna win a decision, but if AJ try to mix it up with him, Andy's gonna whoop his behind. So I'm trying to say, so done. You try to mix it up with AJ, and you clock his behind. You know, so yeah, if it for me, I'd have put a way more hurt in there.
Wow. Those are the words of Jarrell Superman Miller. No, Jarrell Cheeseburger Miller. I got a friend named Javon Superman Miller. But anyway, he says that he would put Anthony Joshua in a casket if he would have fought him back in June 1st. Now, of course, recap on this, I think he also calls, Eddie Hearn a sissy, okay, but I'll get to that later. And he said he would have put a far more whooping on Anthony Joshua. He said he had his number. And he brought, a lot of people didn't know, he brought Andy Ruiz in for sparring, which a lot of people asked, which I would have asked, why do you have a smaller fighter in to prepare you for a taller fighter? Now, the only reason I would understand why he would do that would be because Anthony Joshua likes to fight on the inside, and Andy Ruiz is an inside fighter. Andy Ruiz is shorter, though, so those punches will be coming from a different angle. However, I wouldn't understand it, but, there's a reason why he said he done it. Would he have Jarrell Miller's number? We don't know. The truth of the matter is, we'll never know. We'll never know because I think Anthony Joshua, I will say this, I think Anthony Joshua at the time was frustrated. He was in there with a guy that showed him little respect, gave him no respect, disliked him, taunted him, okay? Even when the event had something to do with another fighter, Jarrell Miller did all the things that it took to get under Anthony Joshua's skin, okay? And it was a good move because I could see the temperament of Anthony Joshua going south. He was becoming unglued, and I've made videos about that at that time. Like, he is getting to Anthony Joshua. And see, maybe Joshua is the type of person that can't fight well when he's mad because he might not be as focused as he is. He's only concentrating on hurting the guy or the opponent because the opponent is taunting him or pissing him off. That might throw his game plan off, okay? That was happening. I think that was happening at the time. But the question is, we don't really know. That's a possibility of him getting pissed off. I know he was mad, but it's a possibility of him maybe not fighting the way he's supposed to fight if he's mad or not. Maybe it might make him worse of a beating on Jarrell Miller if he was going to beat Jarrell Miller at all. But the thing is, I feel that Jarrell Miller was a guy, and I think he understands that based on the way he explained it. No, I would have put I would have put him in a casket. I witnessed Jarrell Miller's reaction after the Joshua loss. And he was a loss for words. I mean, he did not say anything. I think he might have hit that live button I guess we, plan to say thanks because I rank him number 2 best pound for pound shit talking heavyweight in the world. Probably in boxing now. Because he can talk. He can go. He can sound corny at times. He can be rash, brash, rude, smart aleck. But he's quick he's quick with his tongue. He's a Brooklynite. So he knows how to say certain things. And I think that he was just coming at Joshua, and then Joshua didn't really have time to really counter back because he's not that type of person. So he brought Anthony Joshua to his level, I feel. And I think he was doing that to take him out of his game plan. You know what I mean? So with all that said, I believe that Anthony Joshua really took his guard down once he found out the guy that pissed him off the most was no longer fighting him. That's my honest belief. I think, either if Jarrell Miller was doing a good job, yeah, he was pissing him off. I know what he was doing. He said, I don't like him. I don't like this. I don't like this about him. I think he's fake. He's a fraud. Well, we never got the opportunity for that energy to collide. These guys' energy to collide in the ring. We never got that. And I think at that time, Andy Ruiz had a good shot because then he's left with a different attitude. With, he couldn't even pick up the energy that Jarrell Miller left off. Okay? He couldn't even do that. I mean, he's not that person anyway. Even though he attempted to be after he beat Joshua, calling him, couldn't fight, can't box, robot, all that stuff like that. He did that. He tried that, but it wasn't him. I think Andy was really trying to be fake. You know what I mean? You can't be Jarrell Miller. Be Andy Ruiz. And when Andy Ruiz was going to fight him, I guess he was so happy that he was getting this opportunity. He was going to get millions of dollars, and he never seen that many zeros on one check. To the point, he was just like, it's almost like meeting somebody that you know, like a famous person. Meeting a famous person and you don't really know what to say, but no, I'm so happy. That's how he sounded. He sounded like he's winning an award. I'm just grateful. I'm going to win the belt. I'm going to bring it back. Again, I thank God for the victory. So if you're Joshua, how would you react to that? What would you do? It's like, okay, well, this dude ain't nothing like Jarrell Miller at all. So it was like, yeah, the day of unarmament with him. He was totally unarmed, and he should have been on guard because Andy Ruiz was coming. He was actually there to fight. So in essence, he used finesse instead of fire, right? So Jarrell Miller used fire. He used finesse. He did the opposite, right? He made him calm. He made him too damn calm to get in the ring, more than likely. But with Jarrell Miller, it also shows that he's really regretting that opportunity, messing that up. And I think he knows that, you know what I mean? I think he wishes he would have put him in a casket because he wished he would have had that opportunity to fight him, because nothing like something that you are not able to do. It would be different if you tried and failed, but this is a situation where you couldn't get to that point. Okay. Now, speaking of Eddie, he called Eddie a sissy. Look, I try to look at things through Jarrell Miller's eyes and through Eddie Hearn's eyes. And I hear what Jarrell Miller's saying. Okay, first of all, he's saying this. This should have actually been 2 videos, but here we go. He's first of all saying that Jarrell Miller was talking to Eddie Hearn, and Eddie Hearn was assuring him hey, this is what's trying to happen, and we're trying to get this and make this as clean as possible. And then Eddie said something different on camera versus what he said in his face. You know what I mean? So that would come off like, motherfucker, I just talked to you and you weren't that way. You didn't have that same energy when you were talking to me. I get that. However, coming from someone like Eddie Hearn, he's not going to blast you down because it's not, it's not something that he took as, it was like, dude, you messed up, but it's like, I can't just shit on you, but I do have to make a statement for the public, because if it seemed like if I were going to lean it on you, you have to understand Eddie Hearn is a person that's hated by many people in the States. Let's face it, he is. So if he made it look like to this American champ that, hey, it's cool, it'll be all right, it's a misunderstanding. When you got popped for 3 damn substances, he had to say something. He had to react the way he reacted, because he has to make it known, like, dude, we don't condone it. This is not a part of Matchroom. That does not reflect the zone. You know what I mean? And then the opportunity was given to Jarrell Miller. I think Jarrell Miller, he's worried more about how Eddie Hearn responded. But he's going to respond. Like, dude, you can't get mad about that. I mean, you could be bitter, but you have to take responsibility for yourself. You can't be blasting Eddie Hearn because Eddie Hearn doesn't want to be with you or hang with you like that no more right now. Things change. So I think Jarrell Miller should understand that things change. Things will change. Maybe he's mad he kissed a little ass too early and didn't get what he want, thinking that ass kissing was going to make Eddie Hearn sign him back and get him back in that position where he was. But, like, you can't do that just right away. So I understand Jarrell Miller, because, a lot of times is how people, what they choose to do, with someone else's bad or misfortune versus, what they do, And it's one of those things where I see what Jarrell Miller's saying, but at the same time, you got to look at Eddie Hearn. And Eddie Hearn is not Jarrell Miller's promoter at all. So he's talking, though, Jarrell Miller, Eddie Hearn is obligated to speak good about him. He is not at all. Okay? But anyway, that's my counterpunch on that. You guys tell me what you think of Jarrell Miller's statements. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.